Hello, and thank you for viewing our Getting Started with ReServe Cloud video. Upon logging into ReServe Cloud, you will see the following homepage, which gives you a snapshot of your day. Your outstanding tasks and any scheduled events are shown here in the application workspace. The navigation bar is displayed to the left and always stays in place to direct you to the other modules as needed. Today, for this Getting Started webinar, we'll be specifically taking a look at the Events module, as well as the Leads module. There are breadcrumbs that you'll see, and they're displayed above the home bar here. These breadcrumbs are links to the most recently visited items in the application, and there are small icons to the left of the link that denote the type of items that are represented, such as a red star for events, a yellow star for a function, and a gray figure for contacts. In the upper left here, you'll also notice a quick search field where you can enter any string of information, and ReServe will then search through the modules and return all values that match. For example, if I were to search for a contact named Jane, I might type in her name, Jane, last name possibly unknown. I'll hit the search button, and ReServe is again going to deliver back all matching values, whether they be a contact or an event that the name Jane might be associated with. To navigate back to my home page, I'm simply going to click on the navigation bar on the home icon, and I'm back at my home page. I'd like to start again and focus on using the Events module. When I click on the Events module, there are different views. I can see my calendar in a calendar view. I'll also have a week and a day view that I'll show you. An alternate view for you will also be a list view. The View Event List will give me a listing of all of my events, and I can sort by column heading, and I can also create new views with the specific column headings that I desire. Back to my main calendar view on the Events page. The events themselves are going to be color-coded depending on their status, and you can hover over an event for that type of status information. In my case, blue is a new or an inquiry type event. Orange might be tentative or at the proposal stage, whereas green might be something that's more definite and beyond. So your events, again, can be color-coded by status to help you identify quickly where they are. Starting a new event is going to be something we'll do here in just a moment, but prior to that, I want to show you a couple of the other views that you'll have. We also have a week view, a little bit more detailed. Now I have time frames going down the left-hand side, and I also have setup and teardown times at the top and the bottom of every event. The events here can be click, held, and drag, so I can click, hold, and drag an event to a different day if I need to do that. I can also click, hold, and drag to a different time frame if need be. The day view, my most detailed view yet. So now on my day view, it's showing a list of my locations down the left-hand side, as well as any events that are happening on that particular day. For navigation purposes, I have my single arrows that take me forward in the days, and my double arrows take me forward in the years. To move an event similar to the week view, I can do a click, hold, and drag to a different time frame. I can also click, hold, and drag to move it to a different room. Click, hold, and drag capabilities are available to you to use if that's a simpler motion for you. I can also simply double-click from either the month, the week, or the day view on an event to access the event details page where I can make changes there as well. Again, I mentioned starting a new event, which is certainly where we want to begin with this Getting Started training, and there are several spots to start a new event. One of the most obvious is going to be in the upper left-hand corner with the New Event button. That's certainly a way that we can start a new event. Some of you may question, well, what's a new master event? A new master event holds onto a collection of events, possibly used by very large convention centers holding multiple day events. Most of you will probably be able to stay simply in the new event area. And again, there's several ways to start the new event. I can either click on the button, or if I'm on the day view here, I can also click, hold, and drag my mouse over a particular day, location, and time frame, and ReServe will auto-populate that information into my event details for me. Just a little bit quicker data entry for you if need be. On the month view, I can also simply double-click on a day, and ReServe will auto-populate that day for me in my event details prior to me inputting all of the rest of my information. The Quick Start Guide that you will be given access to at the end of this session will show you the various ways to start a new event, so you'll have all of those listed out for you with screenshots. For today's training, I'm going to start my first event by simply using the New Event button so that we can see how that one might work. I'm going to click on New Event. ReServe's going to open for me an event details page where I can begin to enter some information. Let's set up our scenario. I'm going to pretend that I have received an inquiry for a reception dinner type event from a contact of mine named Jane Doe. So I'm going to go ahead and put in Jane's information right now. So I'm going to type in her information. Her name is, let's go with Jane Doe's birthday party. The event type, I can hotkey here if I want to type a B for birthday, or I can use my drop-down list and select from there. It's a birthday. The market type for me is a social event, and the primary contact is going to be Jane Doe. I'm going to do a quick search of my application here to see if Jane is a previous guest or if she's going to be a new contact for me. She did not come up in my records search, so I'm simply going to hit New Contact and add in Jane's information, and then I'll get right back to my event. I'm just simply going to give Jane an email right now. I'm going to give her my own so that I can email myself today. Long email address here. Okay. I could certainly add in her address, her phone numbers, any type of contact information that I might have for Jane would be entered here. I will go ahead and save that. Back here on my event entry, the referral type, I'll pretend that Jane heard about us via an advertisement. This event details page layout that you're looking at here can be customized. So envision the way that you enter your event details, the flow in which you'd like it to follow, and any other fields that you might want to add here. That is all possible through our page layout customization. As I go down through the headers, everything has a red header so that I can easily identify sections. I have billing details in case there's a separate billing contact for this event. And as I scroll down, I've got my function detail information. As I mentioned in my example, this is going to be a reception and dinner. The function date she is looking at is going to be May 27th. And the start time, I'm going to pretend that's going to be 5 p.m. I'm simply doing a 5 and a P, and they're going to end around 9 p.m. Setup and teardown defaulting to 30 minutes. That's about right for me to turn my room. And the location I'm going to select, I'm going to pretend we're using Ballroom A as well as Ballroom B. The location presents as a list, and I can simply check the boxes of any and all locations that I need. My room rental price, which is of course optional depending on how you do business there, but my room rental for these 2 rooms is $1,000, and Jane has let me know they're expecting approximately 50 guests. I'm entering this information that can always be edited and added to later. Right now I'm simply going to save. You'll have a save button at the bottom of your screen. You'll also possibly see one at the top for your convenience. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. And now that information, again, organized via headers, is going to allow me to progress forward. So I have my event details, editable through the Edit Event area. As I scroll down, I have the function that I added, the reception and the dinner in ballrooms A and B starting at 5 p.m. I'll have a timeline that I could add in later. As I continue to scroll through my headers, here's my contact area with Jane as the primary. Of course, I could add contacts like an on-site contact, a mother of the bride contact, anyone else that might be working with me with this event. My next section is called the Event Lifecycle. The event lifecycle is one of the differentiating features of ReServe. So an event might typically progress through stages, starting out as an inquiry, maybe moving to tentative. Eventually I'll confirm it with a signed contract or a deposit of some kind, all the way through actualizing the event, sending the thank you, and closing it. At each one of these stages, there are tasks that might need to be performed, as well as follow-ups or reminders that we might want to initialize. Your individual life cycle steps may vary based on your process. So we can certainly hide steps that you do not want to do so that your flow, again, follows the way that you're currently doing business. But I want to take you through a couple of these steps. I'm going to start out with an inquiry. Again, Jane's not sure possibly where she wants to have her birthday party, and I'm going to send her out some information and create a task follow-up for myself to call her back at a later date. I'm simply going to hit the Lifecycle Action button to do it. It's going to open up my action screen. So at the top, I have my confirmation of the follow-up task. On the 18th, I'm going to be calling her back to see if she got my information and wants to do business with me. I can change the task date as well as the description if need be, or I can delete this task if it's something I do not want to do. My next header is sending an email. It's my option, so I can check or uncheck the box to do that. I am electing to send an email. Box is checked. I'm going to go ahead and highlight one of my email templates all ready to go to send out to her. And then as I scroll down, I will have the option to generate documents. In my example, I'm not generating a proposal or an event order yet. I'm simply going to send her a quick attachment. So I'm just going to hit Process Inquiry. ReServe's going to convert my email template here to something nice and readable. And then at the bottom, I have the option to attach something from the Document Center, which would be my repository of most frequently used attachments, or I can simply jump out to my computer and grab an attachment if I'd like to. I'll just attach a file from my computer. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And in my Document Center that's located here on the computer, I have a few documents, and I'm going to grab the space rental information. That's now a PDF attachment, and this email would be ready to send. If by chance I wanted to edit the verbiage in the email template, simple. I can click my mouse in here and type anything I'd like to. The templates are just there to speed your work along. But I've got my template, my attachment, and I'm ready to send this email off. Once the email is sent, I want to show you a couple of places where that will be documented. So now, as I scroll down through my headers of this event, I'm going to scroll down into a couple of different areas for you. Number one is the event lifecycle. Please notice the inquiry step has been checked off with a date that was processed. And as I scroll down slightly further, my inquiry follow-up task, which will go to my home page for me, is sitting here in an open status until I do my follow-up. And as I scroll down just slightly further, I've got my communication history where the email I just sent out was logged. This will help me to keep track of what was sent and when. One of the beautiful things about ReServe Cloud is that this email sync is going to be native, meaning if I originate an email from ReServe Cloud and the client emails me back and it goes to my regular email account, and that's where I'm checking all my email, ReServe will also pull a copy of it right in here as well. So within ReServe's communication history, you'll have all of your ins and outs, even though you're still just checking emails in one spot within the account like Gmail or Outlook or Yahoo or wherever you check your email now. So very, very convenient. And again, on your behalf behind the scenes, ReServe will just keep track of all those ins and outs for you. So I have sent a nice email off to Jane. I've got a follow-up that went to my home page, and my communication history has been documented. At this point, I'm going to scroll up slightly just to give you a quick sneak peek at my calendar now. So if I go back on 5/27, May 27th, I should see Jane's party on the calendar. When I go back there, I'll scroll down just to make sure you can see this on your screens. On the 27th, here we are with Jane Doe's birthday party. It is in a blue color because it is still at the inquiry stage according to my color scheme. On my home page, at some point I'm going to notice a follow-up task for the Jane Doe party. So it will give me my weekly tasks, and then I can simply follow up. My task isn't appearing quite yet because it's not going to be happening until next week. So ReServe's just going to give me only what I can handle this week. I'm going to jump back into my events. Let's pretend Jane is overly anxious and she's so excited to get going. She calls me. I can either get back to her party via double-clicking here on the calendar, or, given that I was most recently there, don't forget about your breadcrumbs. Lastly, I've also got the search button. I could type in Jane or Doe or birthday, any sequence of values there, and I can have ReServe return back my matches. I think for the sake of this training, I'll go ahead and just double-click right from my calendar on this birthday party to get back into Jane's. When I'm back into the event itself. Here are my details. And as I scroll down, let's pretend that Jane is now ready for a contract of some sort. She's like to move forward with me, and I'm going to be asking her for a deposit, a signature, and for her to send those items back to me in order to make it a tentative hold. I'm going to click the next step in the life cycle called tentative. You'll notice I'm skipping a proposal. I might come back to that for another event that I enter, but for now I want to show you how I can skip steps. So I'm simply going to move to process tentative with her. When I click it, I've got my action items again. Up at the top, I'm scheduling a deposit for a particular amount, which I could change. I've got my follow-up task to follow up on that deposit. I've got my optional email to send out, my email template that I can use. And as I scroll down this time, I am going to grab a contract or a confirmation letter of sorts to send out to her. I'm just going to grab a confirmation letter. And as I scroll down, I'm going to hit the button to activate this. We're going to process this as tentative. Here's my email template all ready to go out to Jane. And as I scroll down, that confirmation letter has been attached as a PDF. Send email, and off that goes to Jane. Again, just to reiterate, after I send that or process a step in the life cycle, you'll notice the step gets checked off. As I scroll down, my inquiry task gets auto-closed for me because ReServe is smart enough to know that now I'm on to the tentative follow-ups or tasks that would be relative. And as I look down at communication history, I now have 2 emails that were sent. To take this one more step before I start adding some details to the event, I'm going to take you through the confirmation step. Confirmation in the event lifecycle might be when I receive the deposit back and I simply want to post that and mark the event as definite or confirmed at this point. So I'm going to click one more step here. In this instance, I'm actually saying that the deposit was received. Again, if I don't schedule a deposit, I could certainly zero that out or to remove it. But I'm going to say yes, she did pay the deposit. As I scroll down here, I'm going to track the method. I'll say she paid by check. The payment type drop down, I'm going to say either deposit or final payment. I'm going to pretend this was a deposit in my example. And then in the description, maybe I'll put in a check number. As I scroll down here, at each step in the life cycle, you'll start to get the feel they all operate the same. I've got my follow-up task to confirm and my optional email to send out. Again, I can highlight a template that I might have, and then I can simply click the task button to take it to that step and get that email generated and ready to send. And then I could send off that email. Now envision with me for a moment, if you will, I'm sending out a deposit received email. What if I wanted to attach a receipt from my computer? Maybe I have something scanned in. I could do that. Maybe I want to attach a signed contract or something for her. I can certainly attach files if I need to. But I'm just going to go ahead and send off that email. So now as I scroll down, the step has been confirmed. She is at a definite status. The tasks are auto-closing themselves, leaving me with my most current to-do. My communication history is updated. A secondary thing on attachments is now there is the capability to attach a file to just the event details in general. So again, signed contracts, receipts, room diagrams. All these things can be attached here just from your computer so that they're all part of this event. That's just another header here under the event details page. I'm going to scroll back up and give you one more peek at my events calendar because this event will have now changed color. Back on my events calendar, Jane Doe's party has now moved to green because I've confirmed her or made her definite. To navigate back to her event this time, I'll use a breadcrumb. I'm going to go ahead and click on the breadcrumb in the upper left-hand corner there. The red stars indicate an event, and the yellow stars are going to indicate the function or what's happening at the event. But I'll go back at the event level to show you how I'm going to be navigating to the function. Back in the event at this time, I want to move forward with it in adding some details. And by details, I'm talking about food menus, beverage menus, setup instructions, things we need to actually execute the event. ReServe has grouped all of these items together into an area called services. I can either access the services by going into the reception and dinner link. Anything that's underlined represents a link here in Cloud, so I can simply go into the function itself, or I could click on the services button as a faster way to get to my area to add these event details. So I'm going to go ahead and click on services. Up at the top here, you're going to notice my function, my reception and dinner on 527. That's also reiterated in my title bar up here at the top. There's a little red star for events, and that's to navigate me back to the event details. Remember, now I've navigated into the function itself, more into the details for this event. In order to add services, they are all together in what we call menus. You might have food menus, beverage menus, setup and service menus. Again, let's take a look. I'm going to go ahead and hit Add Menu. And for this example, my application different than yours, you'll have your own menus listed here. So whatever kind of menus you offer, and again, they could be categorized into food and beverage and setup menus. You could also have package menus. Package menus could include food, beverage, and some setup instructions. So envision the different menus that you might have with your organization. For my example today, I'm simply going to grab the seated dinner. We're also going to have the premium bar package, and then I'm going to grab the setup and service. Setup and service is sometimes a catch-all for all of my setup instructions, be they tables or bartenders or a corkage fee or AV equipment. That could all be in the setup and service menu, depending again how yours were organized. But I'm simply grabbing the menus that I would like. The order that the menus will appear in is the order in which they're selected. So if I say, oh, I kind of want the premium bar package to be first, I could unselect these and say I want the premium bar, then the seated dinner, then the setup and service. I can also reorder the menus after they are selected, but nice to know that if I select them in a particular order, that's the way they'll appear. I'm going to go ahead and add these menus. And now I'm going to start making some selections within the menu. So I mentioned a premium bar package that's my hosted bar. The menu names are in red, so you'll see your headers in red, premium bar package. As you look down, you'll also see the seated dinner menu, which I'll get to in a moment. Below that, you'll notice orange headers, which represent what we call service types. They may also be the type of service, be it buffet, or plated. They might also represent a course. They just describe the menu in a little bit more detail and break it down so that we can organize it properly on the event order or proposal. So for this hosted bar, I'm going to pretend like I need all of these items. Just includes everything. So I'm going to click this upper box here that just simply selects everything. As I scroll down, I'm going to make some selections for my dinner menu now. In my hors d'oeuvres course, they get a selection of both of these. As I scroll down in my first course, they're going to go with the market greens. As we scroll down a little further into entrees, I'm going to grab the chicken and the filet. And then down here in desserts, they're going to opt for the key lime pie to start with. As I go down into my setup and service menu, I now want to add items here. So I'm going to grab let's grab the LCD projector. As I scroll down just a little bit, we're going to use our 6-foot tables. And as I scroll down a little bit further, let's go with our white tablecloths. I also have an area for notes. A lot of you will utilize notes to type in things that are just random. I'm about to show you how I can go into each of these items and add notes on a particular service item, but you will have the ability to put in just some general setup and service notes if you'd like to as well. I'm going to click Save here. In ReServe Cloud, you must add before you can edit. So I had to add all those items. Now I can edit them. So you'll notice now that an Edit Menu button appears below every menu name. So now I could make some edits. So in my premium bar package, possibly I have a couple of edits there. I'm just going to hit Edit Menu. At this point, I could edit the package price of that. Maybe I want to pretend that the package price for that is going to be $12. We've had a slight increase here. As I enter or tab down, ReServe is going to open up a screen for me where it's showing me how my dollars are distributed. In my case, I have 100% of this menu going into beverage, but if I just change the price, possibly I need to redistribute either dollars or percentages differently across revenue centers. Also envision with me that this might be a package, like a wedding package, that includes food, beverage, and some labor. If that's the case, again, I might have a distribution of dollars or percentages across multiple revenue centers. To keep it simple, we've tried to create food menus with things going to food and beverage menus with things going to beverage, but it's certainly okay to have a package that spans all. I have now changed my dollar price of my package to $12. If I want this expansion screen to collapse, I can simply use the arrow next to the package price details, and now that collapses. The arrows that are next to the item names here do actually expand and collapse additional screens. So for example, the hosted bar, if I expand that, this, if you'll remember, was a service type, kind of like a course or a small header. I can say what time I want that bar to be happening. So I could say the hosted bar is going to be from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. and maybe dinner will begin after that. I can also say a service location. Maybe that's going to be in ballroom A. Even though my event is spanning A and B, cocktails are only going to be in ballroom A. So it's just allowing me to really put some detailed notes in on my event layout. I'm going to go ahead and save this one. Actually, I'll do one more thing on my bartender. I'm just going to give it a quantity of 1. Got to remember to watch my quantities. So for my bartender, I just need 1 bartender. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And now I want to get over to my dinner. So I've worked through my premium bar package, and I want to get down here to my seated dinner. I'm going to hit Edit Menu. And within this menu, same thing. I have the ability to change the package price. Maybe I want to say what time the seated dinner is going to begin. Possibly I say the seated dinner starting at 6 p.m. and then the end time for that is kind of whenever. I don't have to have an end time on that. And I might do a menu location. That's going to be in ballroom B. Okay. Menu notes are optional as well. Possibly I have something along the lines of past or preset the salad. I could have any kind of notes in here. As we scroll down, within the items themselves, the chicken skewers, the cheese displays, I'll want to watch my quantities. So I've got 50 chicken skewers going. That's great. I have 1 cheese display that I'm interested in. I've got my market greens. My filet mignon was an add-on, so I'm going to go ahead and pretend that 10 guests have opted for that, and they'll have that additional $10. And then I've got my key lime pie down below. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And there may be yet a few more edits here. So let's take a little deeper look here at the menu. Again, I can edit the menu and edit the package prices, and I can certainly add information to these. But what if I wanted to add an item? So let's pretend for this example that I'm looking down at my desserts and I had chosen the key lime pie, which is great, by the way. But now I want to add an item from my master list because Jane and her group have also told me that they'd like to have cheesecake. So I'm simply going to hit Add Items from Master List, and I'm going to search my master list, which includes everything from my AV equipment to my service to my beverages, my food. Envision anything that you have there as a service item, and I want to search for that. So I'm going to type in cheese as an example. That will narrow it down, and there's cheesecake right there. Or to the right-hand side, you've also got categories. Categories are how we group the service items, and I might be able to just choose something as simple as dessert, and it would give me a list of all of my desserts, and I could select from there. So I'm going to grab the cheesecake from my master list and hit Add. Now if I scroll down just slightly so that you can see, my cheesecake has been added to my dessert list, and that is called adding items from the master list. The other way to add items might be to add a random custom item, meaning I don't typically serve it, I don't believe it's on my master list, but I've offered to do it for Jane and her group. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Add Custom Items. I want to scroll down just slightly to make sure I add the item in the right course. That way it shows up under the correct header. And I'm going to pretend like we're doing a custom B-Day cake. The Revenue Center ReServe wouldn't know because this is a random item I'm adding. It could be anything. I'm going to go ahead and say that's going to go to food. The a la carte or add-on price for that. A la carte would mean it's a menu where everything is individual. Everything is individually priced, the quantities are added. An add-on price meaning it's going to add on to a package. So their package price for their meal was $75. This is going to be an add-on to that. So I'm going to pretend this is an add-on to a package menu that I have. It's $125, and we're just going to use one of those for now. This was adding a completely custom item. Again, I'll save and you'll see where that displays. So I'm going to scroll down again just slightly. I apologize for the scroll, but I do want you to see my dessert course now has the key lime pie, the cheesecake, and the custom birthday cake. I may need to edit my menu further to put in some different quantities or notes on those items. So I'm going to scroll up a little bit so you can see how that might happen. Up at the top here in the seated dinner, first thing I'm going to do is reorder my items. Sometimes I might want things in a different order. I just added all of those desserts, and my reorder items will allow me to reorder these. Maybe I want the custom birthday cake first, and then the cheesecake, and then the key lime pie. That's the way I need the kitchen and the client to see those dessert options. So all I've done is done a click, hold, and drag, and reordered those. I'll click Save now. The other thing that I might need to do would be to edit my menu and add in some notes. So let's find a fun area to do notes. I think I'll scroll down, and I'm going to add a few things to the Setup and Service area. So I'm just going to click Edit Menu. And in my Setup and Service area, remember this could be anything. These are AV equipment, linen, tables, labor of different sorts. So in my projector, I'm going to put in a quantity. We just need one of those. And maybe I have a note or something that I need to expand upon. There's a box to the left that'll say Show Details, and I can put in a note. So for my projector, I'm going to say Set up in back of room. So it's just a quick note. Notes can be external, meaning they show on client-facing documents, or they can be marked internal, where they might only show on an internal event order that's for my staff. But this one's okay for the client to see. As I scroll down, I may have other notes and quantities that are applicable. Tables, we're going to use about 6 tables. Therefore, we're going to need maybe 6 tablecloths. Again, I can expand upon that with notes or a description. Maybe I'll say, use the satin ones. Whatever my description or notes need to be, I can key those in, and those will then appear. Unless I mark them as internal, and then they would only show on internal documents. So again, to expand upon your service items, there's a Show Details box to the left, allowing you to see the expanded screen and add in either descriptions or notes, making them internal or not. Again, I'm going to save. And now I've done several edits to this menu. I added the bar package, the seated dinner, the setup and service, and I kind of want to see everything together. I'm going to scroll up for a minute to describe something to you. To preview your event order or any document that you might want to take a look at, it's all located in that communication history area. So I'm going to take you there now. It's located in 2 spots for your convenience. For number 1, in this function services area where I'm at, I can scroll down and I will find communication history. It's also located back at the event details screen as I scroll down communication history. Either way will work. For this, let's pop back to the event and I'm going to scroll down into the communication history area, and I'm just going to hit generate document. I'm not going to send anything to Jane quite yet. I just want to preview it for myself. So I'm going to hit generate document. My documents pop up here. Again, my list different than yours. I'm just going to grab an event order and I'm going to hit generate. I'm using Google Chrome. That is simply going to generate in the bottom left of my screen. You may not be able to quite see it on your view, but I'm going to click it and it's going to open up this preview. So within this, now I've got my event order. And as I scroll down here, I'm seeing my function banner with my locations and the function that's happening at the event. I've got a contact banner describing the contacts associated with this event. And then as I scroll down further, you'll notice my headers. So I have my function itself, the reception and dinner, and within that I had some menus. So I had the premium bar package. Remember, my hosted bar was going to be just from 5 to 6 in ballroom A. I've also got my seated dinner, which will come next at 6 p.m., and that will be in ballroom B. As you scroll down, you will notice the notes that were put in. I'm just scroll down a little further so it's more visible. The AV equipment set up in back of room. Notes are going to appear in italics. In the linens, I use the satin ones, and I put that in as a description. Descriptions appear in a slightly smaller font, but they are not italicized, so notes get the italics and the descriptions do not. As we scroll down to complete, there's just an estimated charges box with everything that's totaling up in my event, as well as a customer acceptance line in my case. Again, your banquet event order may look slightly different from mine, but I wanted to show you that everything I've been entering has been gathering itself to present on a conglomerate document here. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of my preview. At the bottom of my screen, I'm simply going to hit done. I'm done previewing that document. If I wanted to send that out now to Jane Doe and her group for a possible sign-off, or at least to let them know the menu selections we've discussed, I might take it to the next step, which is complete event order. I'm going to go ahead and click that step, back to our life cycle. Up at the top, I've got my task. I'm continuing to push this business forward. As I scroll down in the confirmation of the event order stage, this is where I might be going over my quantities and making sure before I send it to her, my quantities look accurate. As I scroll down, I'm just checking things. I got my projector and my tables and my tablecloths. On that cheese display, oh, you know what? I think we actually need 2 of those now that we think about it. Just updating a quantity. As I go down, I got my 10 fillets that we're going to be needing and my custom birthday cake. And oh, on that cheesecake, let's just do 1 of those as well. Again, just updating quantities before I send it out. My option in the middle here to send the email is turned on. I can highlight my event order email template. And as I scroll down, just like when I was previewing the event order, here it comes up again in my generate document list. I'm going to highlight it, hit the action button to complete. My email template will pop up with the associated event order attached, all ready to send off. That event now is in the event order completed stage, and my next step might be to guarantee the head count as we move forward. Once the head count is guaranteed and the event takes place, some of you will come back in and actualize the event. All of these steps look almost the same as you go into them, and actualization might take you into posting final numbers, bar actual consumption, how many guests actually came, creating more of a real live what happened at the event. After that, I also have the option to send a thank you. I could have an evaluation form attached to my thank you, or maybe I have a link within my email template for an evaluation. Lastly, I would close it. Once final payment has been made on the event, I'm certainly safe to close it, and that will change the color on my calendar for the last time. Anywhere along the way I could lose this business. If that happens, I certainly want to hit Process Lost to take it off my calendar, and I'll show you that in just a moment. As we scroll back up, I'm going to jump back now to my events calendar. And I'd like to do one more example with you. I won't go through all of the details in the services as we did before, but I want to start the process another time with you. For this example, let's go ahead and double-click on a day. That'll auto-populate at least the date for me. So I'm going to pretend like we have another party for Jane. She loved us so much, she wants to do yet another event. So I'm going to double-click on the 29th here. And we'll say that Jane's doing a party for her husband, Jack. So this will be Jack's party. And the event type this time, it's going to be another birthday party. This is social. Primary contact is going to be Jane. And I want you to see what happens here. See how her name auto comes up? Part of that's Google Chrome. But it's also going to remember her as an add-on. I do not have to search for her again. ReServe is now picking up that she is a repeat contact in my application. Referral type is going to be a repeat customer. And as I scroll down to my function, I wanted to show you a slightly different scenario this time. The last time I did a reception and a dinner all in one function, fabulous, very simple, can be used almost all the time. Every once in a while, in fact, in case in 2 instances, I might want to create a multifunctional event. I'm all still in one event, but I might need to have 2 or more functions. One of the reasons this would take place is if I have an event that's spanning days. If I have a rehearsal dinner on Friday and then the event wedding itself is happening on Saturday, then I would need 2 functions. One function for the rehearsal dinner, I would save in new and do a second function for the wedding. The other example of why I might want to build a multi-function event would be if I don't want to hold one of the locations for the entire time span of the event. Let's say that I'm a bowling alley and I'm having a birthday party and the kids are going to be in the party room from 4 to 5 and they're going to be bowling from 5 to 6. I don't want to hold the bowling lanes from 4 to 5. I just want to hold them from 5 to 6. So I might do 2 functions, each with its own location and time frame, so that I don't block a certain location for the entire time span of the event. Those are just 2 examples of why I might want to do a multi-function event. Otherwise, I could just combine my function types and put everything into one function for simplicity and outline my times as I showed you with service times or possibly building a timeline. So just think about that again for your own organization. But I want to show you the multiple function option just so you can see how simple that is as well. This time I'll do the same reception dinner, but I'm going to split it into 2 function, my option. I'm going to go ahead and here and hit cocktail reception on the 29th. Notice how that auto-populated because I double-clicked on the calendar. My start time for this cocktail reception will be 6 p.m. Cocktail reception will end around 7 p.m. and we're going to be doing that in the tower room. Okay? And possibly I have a room rental for that. Estimated attendance, about 20 guests for this party. In my instance, we're also going to have a dinner in the gazebo, and I want to do a save and new function because I don't want to hold the tower room for the whole time frame in case I can get another cocktail reception booked for that room. So I'm going to do a save and new function, and I'm also going to do a dinner, still on the 29th, still for this particular party. The dinner will be from 7 to 9 p.m., and the dinner's going to be out in the gazebo. That'll be lovely. And we still have about 20 people. ReServe tries to auto-populate the fields that it thinks might be similar. I could continue. Some of you might have several functions that you put in. Perfectly fine to do that. I'm going to go with the 2 of those. I'm going to hit save. And now what you're going to notice, I'm going to scroll up slightly so you can see my title bar. So I've got my event at the top, Jack's Party. I've got my event details with the basics. But as I scroll down here, now instead of having just one function, I have 2 functions listed, both of which I could add services to. And I do that simply by clicking on the function link and adding services, or faster, clicking on the services link and just directly adding the menus. But again, I could add my services to one function or add different services to each function. I'll go in and add the menus again because I want you to see that one more time. So I'm going to take my cocktail reception and I'm going to go into services and I'm going to add a menu. Notice the function that I'm in. I'm in the cocktail reception. If I were in the dinner, I could click the drop down and hit on dinner. It would say dinner up at the top. So I do have a quick switch up here to switch between my functions. But right now I'm in the cocktail reception. It's shown here in blue. It's also showing in my red header so I can keep track of where I'm at. I'm going to go ahead and add a menu for the cocktail reception. When I go into this one, let's do some hors d'oeuvres, and then we're also going to do the premium bar. I'm going to add those menus. Remember, add prior to edit. I'm going to say we're having all of these lovely hors d'oeuvres, and we're also having everything that's associated with the premium bar. I'm simply going to save that, and that menu is complete. I may go back in and edit it. I could edit the package price. I could edit quantities. Those are all things we were working with before. I can add master list. I can add custom items. So remember all the customization you have the flexibility to do now. I'm going to jump over to my dinner because in dinner we are also going to have menus. So I'm going to add a menu for dinner, and within my dinner menu, let's pretend we're going to do a lovely pasta buffet, and then we're going to drink some wine, and then I need to grab my setup menu. My setup menus, again, will give further instructions on my particular event. I'm going to go ahead and add those menus. Red headers tell me what menu I'm in. My orange headers are my service types, or the way my menu is organized. I'm going to grab everything that's part of the buffet. That's the nice thing about buffets. You can usually grab it all. Wine selections, I think we'll have a nice Wente Riva Ranch Chardonnay for this event. And as I scroll down into setup, grabbing items. I'm grabbing a sound system, 60-inch rounds, and let's use black tablecloths. As I scroll down a little further, maybe I have some event notes I want to add, and I'm just going to hit save. Now I'm into that edit menu process, and I could edit these menus if need be. So as I scroll down into my setup information, I may want to edit that menu, and as I look down in there, I might want to add information, especially in event notes. If I want to put in some special notes here, I might hit show details, and I've got this whole field where I can say, these are my notes. Any information can be added here. I can also type right next to an item. Maybe I want to say these are important, important notes. So I can add information wherever I need to by clicking on the Show Details button or typing next to things as need be. I'm going to go ahead and save my menu. And I'm going to scroll back up to the top. I want you guys to see this again. So I'm in my function of dinner. I added my menu, my pasta buffet. And you can scroll down and look at the menus you have for the dinner. I can swap back to the cocktail reception. And here's my hors d'oeuvres menu, and my premium bar will be there. So I've got all of my menus listed under the correct function. All of it's all still part of one event, this red star here, Jack's Party. If I jump back to Jack's Party, I may want to preview my event order. I didn't do a lot of quantities or anything this time, but I'm going to preview the event order anyway so you guys can get a quick look at the difference. I'm going to go to Generate Document. I'm going to scroll down slightly. I have a lot of forms here. I'm going to grab my event order. I'm going to hit Generate Document. My event order is generating behind the scenes. You can't see it, but hopefully you can take a gander at this. So now I've got my event order with my two functions, cocktail reception and dinner. As I scroll down, my functions become headers. So here I have my 529 cocktail reception with its associated menus, and then I have my 529 dinner, which again could be on a different day, with its associated menus. Down here are my important notes, and again going through my charges. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of my preview. Something you may be thinking about is, what if I wanted to create an event order by function, meaning I don't want the cocktail reception and the dinner on one event order. Maybe there are two different people paying for it, and I want to separate that. When you create a multifunctional event, you have the ability to do that. So I'm here in my communication history, generating documents, and I have a box here for filter by function. I can click that, and when I do, it'll open up my function list, and let's say that I just want the cocktail reception on the particular event order that I'm about to generate, and I don't want to see anything related to the dinner, the menus, the pricing, nothing along those lines, just the cocktail reception. As I scroll down, I highlight my event order that I want to run, and I'll generate it. And the difference this time is you will not see anything associated with the dinner. So notice the only function displaying is the cocktail reception. As I scroll down, the only function displaying, again, is the cocktail reception with its menus. And in the pricing area, the only pricing being displayed is going to be what is happening at my cocktail reception. The other thing you may notice that you can do here is to filter by revenue centers. So filtering by function is certainly an option, but the other option might be filtering by revenue centers. So again, envision that your kitchen would like kind of a kitchen event order, and they don't really want to see all your setup instructions. So I can do a filter by revenue center and simply turn off any revenue centers that don't have anything to do with the kitchen. Maybe my kitchen just wants to see food and beverage as an example. I have filtered by revenue centers. I've selected just the two centers that I want to view on this document. I highlight my event order again and generate. And on this, we're only going to see things related to the food and beverage revenue center. So as I scroll down, I don't know if you remember, but in my dinner function I had quite a few things for setup as far as tables and AV equipment, and those do not display. So now it simply contains food and beverage information. So remember, when you're generating your event orders from your communication history area in ReServe, generate document, that you can also filter by various revenue centers. I'm going to hit done. And for this event, Jack's birthday party, I want to show you a couple of other things here. We've got our functions here in the middle. That's great. As we go down here, we've got our life cycle again. And let's pretend for Jack's birthday, we want to go ahead and send a proposal out to Jack and Jane. So I'm going to hit Send Proposal, an optional step. I've got my confirmation task at the top, my option to send an email in the middle. Remember, if you ever don't want to send an email at that time, you can simply uncheck the box. I'll click my event proposal, and then as I go down, I have my proposal document here, and I'm just going to hit send. Now, my proposal could certainly be different from yours, but I'll give you a sneak peek of it. As I scroll down, I have my email template. My proposal is attached as a PDF. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And I'll show you real quickly that it gives the client a visual. You know, I could have a picture that goes along with my venue. I'll have my event details for this event. As I scroll through, I'll have all of my menus for them. And then I might go into the pricing page or a budget page, and then it could certainly conclude with some terms and conditions. Again, my proposal possibly different from yours, but that's just a sample of what you might have. I'm going to go ahead and send this email off to them, and off that goes. So now back on my event calendar on 5/29, I have Jack's party, and there it is in orange. It's kind of at that proposal tentative phase at this point in time. And then I would just continue to push that through the life cycle. Now, as a last example of something that might happen to an event, as I mentioned prior, sometimes an event has to cancel. So let's pretend we've been communicating with Jack and Jane in the group, and they're going to have to cancel this party on the 29th. I'm going to go ahead and either double click there, or don't forget about my breadcrumb or my search if I need to find that event. But I'm going to go ahead and just double click from my calendar back into Jack's party. To take something to lost business, to cancel it, to get it off of my calendar, I'm going to scroll down. This is a life cycle function. I'm down in the event life cycle header, and I'm simply going to click on the lifecycle action to process lost business. I'm going to click on it. It's going to open up my action screen. Up at the top, I have a task. This is a follow-up task. What if this were just a postponement and I do want to follow up with them in a month or two? I certainly might want to have this task available. I don't. It was simply a cancellation. I'm going to delete my follow-up for them. The lost business reason, this is great for reporting. I want to know why people are canceling with me. So I might pick event canceled, or possibly I gleaned a reason why they canceled and I might want to put that in. I could send them an email if I'd like to. I'll just highlight the lost email template, hit process lost business, and that email would be ready to go out to the group, just letting them know, so sorry we won't be able to do business at this point in time. That event now, if I go scroll down, in my event lifecycle, notice the steps are X'd. Those will not be completed on this event, and the lost business step has been checkmarked that was completed and on what date. Again, all of this transitions to reports, as well as maintaining it in the application for you. So if I go back to the event calendar and I look at the 29th, it's clear now. It's been freed up for other events that are going to book. So Jack's party is no longer there, but his party is still in the database itself. So if I were to search for it, I could let's just type in Jack, and it's going to bring up his particular party. So it's just status equal to lost business, but it's there for me in case I needed to refer to it, copy from it, or simply report on this lost business action. So again, lost business is just a step in the life cycle if you need to take something to lost business, getting it off of your calendar. I think we've covered the events area enough for the Getting Started guide by adding a couple of new events and hopefully assisting you with navigation here. Again, the Quick Start guide will go through these particular items again. The last area that I want to cover in this Getting Started class is going to be leads. I'm going to click on leads. Leads might be an inquiry that does not have a date, a very, very cold call. So I can put in leads, and you can see my list here of all the leads that I might be following. And again, I can sort by status if I want to see where they are in my particular action items. I can also do a new lead, so I'll click on new up here, and let's just put in a primary contact. I'm going to use Jane again. Oops, I put it in properly here. Jane Doe. I'll jump over here and grab her. There she is. She'll be my contact, or I could have added a new one. And the lead name is going to be the Doe Family Reunion. The site, the lead type, all of that's going to be optional, but obviously the more information I can gather, the better my follow-up's going to be. I'm going to say it was an internet inquiry, probability about 10%, lead status for me, I'm developing this, decision date, unknown at this time, I'm not going to fill one in. Over here, the referral type, maybe she saw us via an advertisement. Again, I can fill out function type, event name, start time, end time, a location we might be looking at, estimated attendance. I may not know any of that to begin with, so what I've got is just fine. But anything I enter here will transition if she ever decides to go with me and I convert it to an event. So again, the more entry I do now, the better off I'm going to be if she decides to go with us. But I'm going to go ahead and save this. ReServe will let you know with an error message at the top in red if you've missed any required fields. But I've got my lead in here, and again, it becomes part of my lead list, and I can certainly edit the information. As I scroll down, separated again by headers, as I look here, I could put in some notes. I could add some tasks. Maybe I want to call her back in 3 months. I can create a task for myself. Down in the communication history area, I can log calls, talk about our conversations. I could send her an email with an attachment. All of this is available here, almost exactly the same as when I'm in an event. The only difference is she's not on my calendar right now. She's just sitting behind the scenes as a lead. If she decides to go with me and I want to get her into that event life cycle and start sending out contracts, proposals, that type of information, I'm going to convert her to an event by simply clicking the button. And now you'll notice I'm in my event header and the information comes over. There's my event name, Doe Family Reunion, and I would just fill this out as I did prior in the other two examples. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of there, but hopefully you are getting the idea that the leads will allow you to put in things that don't necessarily have a date quite yet. Lastly, I'm going to jump back to the home page, and I want to tell you just a little bit about help. As far as help goes, in the right-hand corner we have what's called ReServe University. That's our little grad cap with the U underneath, ReServe University. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. It's going to launch a screen that's going to give me some of my guides. We have our quick start guide that I'm going to recommend all of you either print or view because that goes over what we've been covering today. We've also got release notes. We're editing the software and adding to it and enhancing it weekly. And we'd love for you to read the release notes to keep yourself abreast of all the neat changes that are coming into play. We're also going to be adding different items to this. We'll be adding videos and advanced guides so that you'll have all the information that you need to get successfully going with ReServe Cloud. Off to the right-hand side, we also have the ability for you to sign up for a free webinar. We have getting started webinars offered a couple of times a week, and we also have some advanced webinars happening now on correspondence, on the services, the event services areas, those menus we were looking at, food, beverage, setup menus, and getting all of those into your application as well as utilizing them properly. So you'll want to sign up for all of those webinars. They are free and at your disposal here right in this area. I'm just going to click done there. And I'm back to my home page. The other help area that you're going to have is in the upper left corner. In this area, we'll have a little box there, and it'll either say help or chat. If it says help, you can email us real quickly, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible with an answer. Or if it says chat, you'll be chatting live with a support representative, hopefully getting your answers immediately. So again, just a couple of help areas. We also, of course, have our support phone as well as a support email for you. So thank you guys for attending or for at least listening to this welcome video to ReServe Cloud, and we hope that you have gotten some good information from this and that you'll watch videos that we might produce in the future. Thank you again.